Hello, everyone. Welcome to my next episode of 51 Stories of Emotional Wellbeing with Emotional Ability Resources. Today, I have a fantastic founder with me. She's someone who epitomizes grit, determination, and hard work for me. She's the founder of Navsoft, a software company with roots in India as well as the USA. So, welcome to my show, Priyanka. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Pragati. I'm delighted to be a part of your show. It's a real honor for me to be here.
Thank you. So tell me something, Priyanka. You are someone who has always epitomized courage for me. What has been the most courageous thing that you have done?
I think courage for me has been a daily, it's a way I live, I guess. Most of my decisions have come from the fact that I've wanted to stretch myself and never be comfortable in the environment I'm in. So the moment you want to step out of your comfort zone, you need courage. So each time I feel slightly comfortable in a place, I think I get restless and I need to move out. And that for me means I have to draw upon my inner reserves of courage. Of course, courage has come to me. I've learned courage from my children, from my family, from friends, from work. So courage for me is a daily shot of protein. So that's how courage is for me. Without courage, you can't survive.
I love that. Courage is my protein. You know, that's such a refreshing take on courage. I love the line. And tell me something. When I first approached you for the interview, I had asked you if you would be comfortable talking about your journey as a mother. Your child has gone through a very difficult phase with her mental health. But the beauty of it is she had the courage to work on herself and come out of it. So I really want you to tell me a little bit about your journey as a mother when you realized that your child may be struggling with mental health.
As a parent, I'm a mother of 3 children and they're all spaced. There's a lot of gap between my kids. So eldest is now 26. My second is now 17 going on 18 and the youngest is 11 going on 12. So I've been parenting different generations, I feel. So the style of parenting that I had for my first one was the same style I'd adopted for my second one. But clearly what I realized as I grew older and as she grew older is that this is a completely different generation I'm dealing with. Mm-hmm. And their needs, their expression, their ability to deal with their environment is very different from what the eldest one went through. So, when Sanvi was, we had moved to Bombay from Calcutta from a very sheltered environment. And we came to Bombay and she was put into this co-ed school where very, very, very popular and very well-known school. She realized that she's in a place where she's completely out of her comfort zone. And that brought about a severe sense of lack of self-image. She realized that, hey, I'm not that great. I mean, we have a tendency to always tell our kids are very, very good at everything, but their own sense of self comes to a reality check when they actually come out of that zone and meet people in a different environment. See, we are Marwadis. We are very protective about our children. We're very conscious about their well-being. And we always think that as parents, we're giving them the best that we can, both in terms of security, in terms of mental security, emotional, physical security. That's the best we can do. But as parents, we just don't have the skill sets to really know what's going on inside a child's head. And there are so many kids who are her age who are suffering from the same problems. And it's always a problem of self-image. So when, we just moved to Bombay and there's a call, she called me and said that I'm not well, come home right now. And I came home and the baby's nanny said that, look, she's been in the bathroom with a box cutter. And just the thought that my kid could have gone to that place where she even contemplated harming herself, it just killed me. Like, it just shook me from my core. And I tell you something, things don't shake me from my core. I felt like such a failure, first of all. The first feeling was that how could this happen to my kid? I thought that she was very protected and that she was secure and safe. And how can it happen to my child? It's like, when anything happens, you always think, "Mere ko kaise hua? How the hell did this happen to me?" So this first, before looking at the kid, I was looking at myself. And then I said, "Shake yourself off. This is not about you. This is about her." So I remember walking into the room and she was on the floor sitting, and I just held her and I hugged her. And I didn't say anything. I just held on to her and I just let her cry and cry. And the whole journey started unfolding from there. And as a parent, I felt very vulnerable. I felt very sad. I felt beaten. I felt like I felt like the ground from beneath my feet had moved. And it was traumatic. But now, in hindsight, that I think about it, I was very fortunate that I had a very strong family around me that supported me and said, "You know what? It's okay. And we're going to get through this." And moreover, I had access to some amazing healthcare, which immediately put me back on track. And I have to tell you that obviously, the school was very worried because the school got to know. And her school is very, very tuned into mental health, fortunately. So I had a round of discussions with the counselors, and they were very helpful. And from there, the journey really started. And that's when mental health became a question for me. Like, I had never imagined that therapy would be something I would need. So from her problem came to light my problems. And together as a family, we approached this whole journey as a course in well-being, really. And both of us went into therapy to understand what's going on here. And my God, it's been absolutely life-changing. And I can only say that it's the best journey I've ever taken in my life.
I think that was beautiful. And thank you for sharing. For me, the best part of being a therapist is seeing the transformation and metamorphosis into well being. When people decide that, see, something is not working and I want to do something about it and work on myself, that's where real change happens. Till we always give responsibility to someone else, the people around us, or we get into the blame game or the system, we always are in that victim mode where we feel someone is more powerful than us. But the moment we realize that, look, this is not working, I want to work at myself, that's where true journey towards well being happens. That was really very courageous of you to talk about it. And I'm sure a lot of our viewers will get a lot of insight into how to talk to a child, how to behave with your child when your child struggles. Because a lot of times, what I have seen as a therapist is people minimize problems of children. Oh, it's the board year. Children are going to be stressed. Oh, they have adolescent issues, big deal. That doesn't work. You don't know when is the tipping point and when is it okay. So I always recommend, if you have even that slightest gut feeling that something is not working or your child reaches out for help, please just be there, because I feel the most comforting presence for a child is that of the parent. And if the parent is supportive, the world is the child's oyster. Now, this brings me to another facet of life. You correctly identified that any issues that we have with our mental health is an issue of self image. Do you have any incidents that you have uncovered in therapy or even otherwise where you had issues with your self image while growing up?
Of course, who hasn't had issues with self-image as growing up? I mean, Indians, especially in Indian families, tend to, while they're very protective and very loving and so on and so forth, tend to let their kids feel, oh, you could be better. Oh, this could be better.
Mm-hmm.
I was very fortunate that my family never compared me to anyone. And I still have the most loving, caring, and understanding parents that one can ever dream or ask for.
Mm-hmm.
But self-image doesn't only come from family, it comes from school. Self-image comes from your environment. So while at home, I was always like the boss, or I was always I was like a real ustad, if you understand what the word ustad means in Indian. But in school, I was made to feel very, very, I was different because I would ask questions. I was different because I would not take everything that the teacher said lying down. I was, so they started telling me that, oh, you're a class disruptor. And they villainified me. I became a villain. And so the teacher started saying, if you're hanging around with this girl, your career is going to get spoiled. They would say this openly to other kids. And it didn't bother me because I couldn't be bothered. But the truth is, somewhere in your heart, you start thinking of yourself as not good enough, or that, oh, is something wrong with me? Why am I being put aside just because I asked questions and just because I question things? I mean, isn't it curiosity? So maybe at some point in my life, I felt not good enough or different from the rest. And yes, many decisions that I took as I grew older may have stemmed from that sense of lack of self-worth.
That's very well put, actually. What you spoke about, curiosity is a character strength. It's actually a hallmark of wisdom. Martin Seligman has spoken about it in positive psychology. Curiosity is that one quality which we don't celebrate enough, and especially in certain cultures, I've always seen. Because with curiosity, you know that there are 10 options. You can always try which one works for you. And I think this curiosity, how do you feel now when you look back? How has curiosity helped you today compared to the feedback you got, let's say, decades back?
I was 17 years old when my father gave me a computer. And I was very curious. What the hell is this computer? And I started looking at software, and I started understanding what software meant. This is the days of Windows 3.0. Nobody even knew what a software meant. And because I was curious, I would explore and I would read and I would talk to people. And that gave birth to my innate love for computing. And at 24, I started my own software development company. So if it wasn't for the curiosity, I would have accepted what was just told to me. But I wanted to know more about things that are completely out of my comfort zone. And it's a curiosity that drove me to this place where I fell in love. I fell in love with computing. And I started a company that does internet software, which is back in 1999. So yeah, curiosity has been, I would say, my teacher.
I love that. From what I hear, curiosity has been that one emotional ability resource that actually helped you form your career, built up your emotional well being, and also kind of gave you that sense of stoicism that I see in you today. So, what are some other challenges that you feel that you have faced that will probably uh, be a source of inspiration to everybody listening to us today?
You know, this whole journey of self-realization, or the attempt to self-realize, is one that is stigmatized.
Mhm.
And when you tell somebody, oh, my therapist said this. Earlier, 3-4 years ago, 5-7 years ago, when I started with therapy, people would say, oh my God, you do therapy? I said, yeah, I do therapy. It's fantastic. You should try it.
Mhm.
And for me, that was a bit of a moment, because I realized that there is such lack of understanding of what is needed to be on one's own journey and what is needed to really get the best of yourself. So for me, therapy and looking into myself has really been what I now call, or think, making me a better leader, making me a better parent, makes me a better human being, because I'm able to look at myself without judging myself finally. Because for 40 years of my life, or 42 years of my life, I judged myself, always thinking I'm not good enough, always thinking I could do better, always being told that, oh, that's the goal, you got to go higher and higher. So while you're on that journey of going higher and higher, uh, you really just start believing that you're not good enough. I mean, it's incredible, my sense of peace and comfort with my body, with myself, with my family, with everything that I am today. My kids tell me, and they say, Mom, you had so much latent anger so many years ago, but in the last few years, we see a big difference. And this is feedback coming to me from different parts of my friends groups or different people. And I'm not asking them for feedback, but they're coming and telling me, okay, something's changed. So I feel really privileged and very, very happy and peaceful that I'm on this journey. And I really hope that this is something that people would understand, that is, you can buy one handbag less a year, but for Christ's sake, get the therapy you need, because everyone needs therapy. And therapy is not a bad word. It's like yoga. It's like yoga for your soul, it's yoga for your mind. And it's got nothing to do with weakness. It's got nothing to do with something's wrong with me. It's just the opposite, in fact.
Actually, you have literally, epitomized how we can grow in therapy. A lot of people feel that therapy means that something is so badly damaged that it can't be repaired, or I just need to repair it. But what people don't realize that the true takeaway from therapy is self-realization, that journey into knowing yourself a lot better, that journey into knowing that I am good enough the way I am. That's the gift that you give to yourself. So that is something that a lot of people forget, that therapy actually helps. Yes, there are relationships which bog us down, there are career challenges, there are health issues. But in all the tangled emotions, the one person who actually matters is you. And your anchoring in your own self. So therapy actually helps normal people even function better. So
Absolutely.
I want you to tell me now, what does emotional well-being mean to you, and how do you practice it in your day-to-day living?
So I discovered this unbelievable app called the Chopra app. It's by Deepak Chopra, and it's unfortunately just on the iPhone. So there are meditations on it, and I do this 10-minute meditation before I go to sleep every single night. For me, this has been a great source of peace and quiet and well-being. Uh, I've been through a lot of emotional struggles in the last 1 or 2 years. There's so much happening all the time. And I can say that this one app and my therapist who sits in Singapore today are the two reasons why I feel much more in control at a time when I feel that everything is out of control. Technically, if I was to look at my life today after the pandemic and where I am and what I'm doing, there's so many open strings. I can see so many open strings that I don't even know how to collect them. But the fact that I'm in this situation and I'm so happy with this daily exercise of meditation that I do, and it's not even a religious meditation. There's nothing religious about it. It's only spiritual. Um, I think it has been for me something that I would recommend, and I would preach rather to anyone who comes across and says, "What is your mantra for well-being?" And I would say it's meditation. So yeah, that's what work.
I think that is fantastic. I like that you're practicing what you're preaching, and that is so wonderful to see. Most of the time, we feel we can solve others' problems, but we all have to discover that journey for ourselves. One more question I want to ask you is, since you mentioned that you and your therapist are in different cities, how do you feel online therapy has been with you? Because a lot of people feel that therapy is only effective if it's face to face. What has your experience in therapy been, especially online therapy?
I've never had a single offline session in my life because my first therapist was out of Dubai, and then she moved to the US. And my second therapist was in Delhi, and my third therapist is now in Singapore. He used to be in Goa, now he's in Singapore. And I've never met them, except for the New York therapist who I met once or twice. But I never met her for therapy. I met her just for a coffee. But every of my sessions have been online, either on Zoom or WhatsApp video or FaceTime or something. So physical presence has nothing to do with it. Absolutely. So in fact, it's one of those things that you can so easily do online that it's almost funny how easy it is. It's almost ridiculous how easy and how completely normal it is, because uh, you're tuned into the therapist. It doesn't matter the medium. You could even do a voice call and it would be equally good. But the thing is, you have to have trust. You have to have trust, and you have to have faith that yes, this one's good for me. And yes, the other thing is you can go through the other thing is that you can uh, choose a therapist. You don't have to be stuck with the same person. You're not married to your therapist. If you don't like something about your session and you don't feel good about it, please move on, find somebody else. So there is no guilt or any of those emotions that come with therapy. So yeah, online works.
I think that was very well shared. You know what? Luckily, you have experienced the unconditional positive regard of therapists. And, very rightly, like you said, in that environment where you feel the presence of another human being, whether it's face to face or online, it's presence that matters. And, it's that one safe space where you don't feel judged. And very rightly, you said, as human beings, we value our connection more than anything else. So, what's really, really important is you find that zone of connection with someone who's trained to help you into discovering yourself. So, thank you so much for sharing that. And what emotional ability resources do you use on a regular basis to get into this zone of emotional well being?
Love.
Mm-hmm.
Everything for me stems from the word love. And I love what I do. So if I'm hearing music, I love it. If I'm with my kids, I love it. Uh, if I'm with someone, I love that person. If I'm at work, I have to love my work. So I treat love as a place from where I operate. For me, that's the only way I can operate. If I don't feel that love or I don't feel loved in a situation, then I exit that situation. It's not for me, because I cannot be fake about my feelings, um, about my emotions, and about what I'm doing. There's one thing about going to a party and mixing with 100 people and then leaving it halfway through, and it's one thing to really know what makes you comfortable and where and what is it that I seek. And if it's not a truthful and sincere environment, I can't handle that. So I think for me it's really important that I love, and I feel love for what I do.
I like that, and it begins with self love. And I'm so happy with your journey towards self love. You've now made love the driving source or your key emotional ability resource to really impact all avenues of your life. So, if there was one word that you used to describe Priyanka, what would that be? Just one word.
Love, of course. What else?
And any other tip that you want to leave our viewers with before we sign off?
I just think that uh, we should just be really truthful to ourselves, and we should mask ourselves from ourselves, because you just have one life, and you can if you're untruthful about what you feel and you live your life in untruth, you're wasting a whole human life. Because the day you're dying and you look back and you see, oh my God, what have I done? So every day of your life has to be lived with truth, complete bare bones honest truth.
Thank you so much. That was really, really wonderful. And yes, I do believe that the journey of human life is the journey from the vision of ideal me to the real me. And thank you so much for sharing all that with our viewers. It's just been a lovely session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pragati, for all your for the fantastic questions you asked, and I really hope that lots of viewers log into your channel and get to learn from you, because you're such a fantastic therapist, and I admire you so much. So thank you so very
Thank you.
much.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.